Hey nerds, and welcome to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Theories and Conspiracies. I'm Brian from Good Nerd Bad Nerd. So this week I'm covering the last two episodes because I was sick, but really they do play together in my mind as one episode. I will say Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. does a much better job since they switched these pods of all of the episodes in the pod feeling like one story. If you go over to shows like Supergirl or Flash or Arrow, their episodes feel very standalone with a small chunk that applies to a larger story. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. at this point does feel like one story. So what did we learn? Episode 8, we really got the history of the timeline the agents are in now. What happened after the Earth exploded, how the team fell apart, how they planned to fulfill the prophecy, all of those things. So that was very interesting. The evidence against Daisy is really weak, and I hope I'm not the only one who thinks that. If all they have is this video of Daisy not getting on the Quinjet, running off camera, and then the Earth shattering apart because of earthquakes, that's really weak. That's really, really weak evidence. But at the same time, we've seen the gravitonium. You think that Fitz and Simmons would bring that up or mention that or kind of expand on that. I know in episode 9 it comes up again, so I don't know why they don't mention it to anyone else, really mention it to anyone else, that is. But the two other things, Voss, his plan to kill Daisy once she came to the future. Can you blame him? I know that's a kind of a harsh sentiment, and you always want to believe that the heroes can set anything right, but from an average person's point of view, we can bring the person who did this to the future before they did it and kill them. Depending on what version of time travel you subscribe to, it makes sense. I mean, how do you argue that? I don't know. It's tough. I don't know that I could do it, but he did make some valid arguments. So that takes us into episode 9, though, and it seems like Deke is now agreeing with Vossen that he is going to try and kill Daisy, except that he doesn't. He interferes in the fight with Sonara, and which I gotta say, that was an amazing fight, and an amazing fight with a terrible, terrible ending. The way Sonara dies, I thought was very weak, and I felt like they should have choreographed that better, as opposed to Daisy essentially accidentally or luckily stabbing her with the broken railing. It just felt really, really weak. But that being said, we have learned now that Flint is the key. The team wants to use him to create duplicate something with the shard of the obelisk so that they can open a portal home. Now, they will succeed in doing that, but I think they're going to take him with him. I think that's the key, because otherwise, why even bring them to the future? If there wasn't something in the future they needed to take back to the past, there's no point in doing it, and Flint is obviously what that is. Again, like I said, the gravitonium, it's everywhere now. It's permeating the ship, the lighthouse. It's clearly what happened. The interesting thing will be what shattered the Earth. Was it just the gravitonium in an experiment gone awry, or was Gravitron actually released? Did he, escape from it and get in a fight with Daisy, and maybe that's why Daisy is blamed, because she was in the fight and nobody knew that Gravitron, or whatever his name is, was there? It's all coming back to that, and Fitz and Simmons, I think, are going to understand that and figure out a way to, with Flint's power, to prevent this from happening. Now, the big question of the week, Kasius has a seer. The interesting thing is, if he has a seer, how has he let things go to crap so badly for him? But the question is, who is it? the cast, specifically Mac and Yo-Yo, they've basically said it's going to blow your mind when you figure out who it is. So that means it's got to be someone we know, or at least a character that is so well known that when anyone sees it, they'll know. I'm more inclined to think it's someone from the show, but I don't know who it could be that could blow my mind. I mean, the obvious choices that people have been putting online are Raina. Some people have suggested that it's actually Daisy's dad, which I don't think makes sense. I think the other two options are it's another member of the team, but I don't know how that fits in, or it's Enoch himself, and that because he's a recorder. So if this Enoch goes back in time with the team, there would be two Enochs in the past, then maybe one of those somehow ends up in Kasius' hands. Hard to say, but Enoch makes sense because he would have a record of everything that happens. So who do you guys think the seer is? Where do you think this is going? How much longer do you think we have in this pod? I don't think we've only got a couple more episodes before the show takes a hiatus. So what do you think is going to happen before then? So until next time, guys, I'm Brian from Good Nerd Bad Nerd. This has been Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Theories and Conspiracies.